Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody, Hari Om to everybody.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Swamiji, happy Janmashtami, today Gokulashtami.
Yesterday we had already celebrated.
Yes, I saw the video, Swamiji. And today, Swamiji, one more good news. Tulika is coming to Hyderabad today. Tulika will be coming to Hyderabad today.
Okay. Very good.
Yes, Swamiji.
Actually, when we say yesterday was Janmashtami,
Ji, Swamiji.
We should know that Lord Krishna is eternal. He is beginningless and endless. But at the same time, he came out as a Purnavatar, and the date he chose, we are celebrating it as the Janmashtami day.
Janmashtami, yes, Swamiji.
And he chose to drop the body later.
Yes, sir.
So he lived with us like a human being. And we all know that the moment we hear the word Krishna, so many anecdotes from his life comes before us. And many of them, we thought, it was a child's play. Certainly not. Everything was a teaching for all of us. So if we try to understand the life of Lord Krishna, which came before us as an avatar, then we'll be eking out the benefit out of it. Otherwise, we will be just, sentimental, emotional level satisfaction. But Lord Krishna's avatar is Purna avatar. So let us try to, even if we forget everything, if we remember about the Uddhavopadesh, that is enough. Now, he gives a synopsis of his entire life's mission. Because when Uddhava started feeling miserable, when he came to know that the Lord is going to drop the body, then he made him understood how to move from the personal to the impersonal. And though this is very important, like Papa's children, this is very important to us. Though he was trying to make Uddhava understand that the personal aspect is always transient, whereas the impersonal aspect is always eternal. Everybody is hearing?
Yes,
It is not only for Pushpavan, no? Yesterday we symbolically we celebrate, but what is more important is to have a glimpse into the inspiring life and mission of Lord Krishna.
yes.
Because it's a loving. We cannot explain the warmth and love that wells up in our heart the moment we hear about the word Krishna.
Yes,
It is something we cannot simply brush aside. And many of the Purandaradas Kirtan, many Kirtans, Jagadodharana,
yes.
Kanakadas Begana Krishnani Begana Bharo. So like that, we try to develop a close affinity to that form. Who is within us. He is not outside us, but he is within us. We should all keep on reminding that. So yesterday we forgot to make a mention about all these things. Now that he chose to remind us through one of his devotees, we thought we would share this with you all. We must spend some time in going deep into the various leelas of Lord Krishna.
Yes. Yes, Swamiji.
Some time back we remember Swami Chinmayanandaji used to say, his life has been totally tragic. Because he was born in a prison. He could not stay with his parents.
Yes.
He had to stealthily go out and then live with foster parents.
Yes, Swamiji.
And then after that, he was subjected to go through many tests by Kamsa, Putana, Shakadasura, so many. And then when he came out, he wanted to settle down, but again comes Kamsa in the form of, all of them are not bad characters. God is bringing those anecdotes to us to teach us so many. If you go through each and everything, we will find they are not bad characters. So again, then when after the Kamsa's exit, naturally, he would like to lead a peaceful Grihastha life, but even then, he could not conduct the marriage in the usual way. He had to abduct Rukmini and then go elsewhere and get married. And when he was settling down with his family life, again, he became the mediator for Kauravas and Pandavas. And finally, he became the driver of Arjuna. And there also, he was made to pass through so many trying moments. And after that, when he thought everything is over, when he came back to Dwaraka, what he saw was his own people fighting each other. And finally, he was shot by a hunter. You see? So right from the day of his birth till the day of his departure, it has been full of tragedy. But what he gave to the world was full of comedy.
Yes, Swami.
None of these things we will remember. We will always remember about the child's play and his voice, the song celestial. Bhagavad Gita is called song celestial because it is eternal. It is addressed to the entire mankind. And there is not a, Papa used to say that there is not a single item which Bhagavad Gita has not touched. That is why Papa strongly advised all of us, all his devotees, to learn at least one shloka a day or go through one shloka a day. Because that is the Magna Carta, that is the basis for our entire life. So even if we go through a few slokas in our life, that itself will enrich and that will give us a lot of clarity, that will give us a lot of cushioning, that will help us to face many hurdles, many challenges. So these are all the things that should well up in the moment we think about Lord Krishna. So it is not merely wishing, It is something for a sadhaka or a devotee. It is definitely all these avatars we celebrate their days, not for merely anything, whether it is Ganesh Chaturthi, whether it is Krishna Avatar, whether it is Deepavali, whether it is Navaratri, anything that we name, each one tries to touch and kindle certain noble aspects of that form which is inside us. If
So
we
it's a day for Manana and to go internal.
Internal. So these are all some of the thoughts which otherwise why should this topic should be raised. So God is raising all these topics only to make us aware of the relevance of the particular celebrations. Now, it is true, we start with all these celebrations. But as a spiritual sadhaka, as a devotee, we suddenly go back to our spiritual preceptor's words. And Papa has elaborately discussed about this in many of his articles. That is why we remember. We just don't simply say that it is a Jayanti day. It is a Jayanti day, no doubt. There is some celebration, no doubt. Small children are dressed like Lord Krishna. And then that itself we will start thinking about it. Yesterday we had a good number of such children dressed as Krishna, and in Kerala it is celebrated in a big banner everywhere. Today's newspaper, in Malayalam newspaper, carried the first page itself and one page exclusively for photos of Balakrishnas in different, and today's photo was arresting. A 7-year-old or 9-year-old child was dressed like Lord Krishna, and the beaming smile it had, the photographer has captured. The moment you look at it, something. Another interesting thing that was shown in the paper was, those of a different faith, they carried, the child expressed the wish to get dressed as Lord Krishna. Immediately they acceded and they were carrying that child in that dress. So in what all ways he touches and kindles these nobler aspects in us, we cannot. So when we view it from that angle, even these celebrations have got their own relevance, apart from the superficial or what you call sentimental or emotional level satisfaction for all us. So let us all pray to Krishna, who is the indweller. You remember the words of Vinobaji? I will read out. It is worth remembering him. The first chapter to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vinobaji beautifully brings out the contents in a very, very, very impressive manner. We should be, it also helps us in another way. It reveals Arjuna's straightforwardness and honesty. The word Arjuna, in fact, means one who is honest and straightforward in nature. He candidly told Krishna all that he felt and thought in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. They hid nothing from him and ultimately surrendered to him totally. He said, I am confused, I cannot go forward, please help me. Shishyasteham shadimam tam pravan. I am your Shishya. That is how the surrender aspect comes. And then, in fact, he was already his devotee. When he made Krishna his charioteer and entrusted to him the reins of his horses, he had got ready to give into his hands the reins of his mind also. Let us do likewise. Let us not think that unlike Arjuna, we do not have Krishna to guide us. Let us not get caught in the fallacy that Krishna was a historical person. Everybody has Krishna. Everybody has Krishna residing in his heart as the indwelling self. He is nearer to us than the nearest. Let us bear our heart with all its impurities and weaknesses before him and say, O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my soul guide, my master. Show me the right path and I shall follow it. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips and he will lead us to victory. In one of the shlokas, Sri Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Therefore, at all times and in all places, remember me and fight the battle of life. That's why he says, if we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips and he will lead us to victory. Here victory means that ultimate scaling the heights. Here charioteer means we should know that we are being taken by him. At least when we read that, we install him in our heart in that form. And then he is driving us. This body is the vehicle. The mind intellect equipment is Arjuna there. And he is driving the charioteer. So whenever we are confronted with anything that is not okay, immediately we refer to him. He will, the moment we turn to him, he will lead us to victory. So these are all the thoughts Mahatmas have given to us. So on this particular occasion, when we mention about the Krishna Jayanti, we try to dwell at least for some time. The impact, if we do it with intensity, the impact will remain in our mind and will surely remind us every now and then, hey, look here, I am here. So let us all, Vinobaji's powerful message, the moment we started reading Talks on Gita by Vinobaji many years earlier, the first and foremost words that struck in our heart was this particular words. Because he immediately makes us understand that Krishna is not the figure who lived 5,000 years ago. Krishna is a living entity, living reality, who is within me, who is behind my thoughts, words and deeds. I forget 99.9999% of my active life I forget, but that not 1%, I may remember him. And the moment I remember him intensely, the footprints will be there for a longer time. So let us all try to repeat these words. O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my sole guide, my master. Show me the right path. I shall follow it. We are again reminded of Vinobaji's assurance. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips and he will lead us to victory. So we pray to that charming figure, prostrate and catch hold of his feet. You are there as nameless, formless reality, but for the sake of all of us, you also assumed a form, took a Purnavatar and prayed your Leela, and then you shuffled off your mortal coil and became again that cosmic spirit. So kindly enable me to remember this truth, that you are always within me. And whenever you make me to pass through stressful moments, kindly guide me to go to your own words of wisdom as expressed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And we also read our master, Param Puja Papa's words on Bhagavad Gita, because that is the torchlight with which we move forward. So let our mind be filled with all these sublime thoughts about that Purnavatar, Lord Krishna. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Yesterday we were discussing about what?
He reflected on meditating.
Huh?
We are the true springs of our life. Reflective and meditative. The more you are reflective and meditative,
the more reflective you are meditative, and the more reflective and meditative,
the nearer you are to the
nearer
reality.
Anything else? We started with what? This is very important for all of us. Puja Swamiji, in his articles in the book, Soar High, Dive Deep and Soar High, yeah. It is something like a soliloquy, though it is all brought up like a dialogue between the disciple and the teacher, dialogue between love and the sense of individuality. So like that, so many topics he had taken, but in this particular article, Teacher and the Thought, he asks us to move from the level of devotee to the level of sadhaka. This is very important. Then somebody asked, what is the difference between a devotee and the sadhaka? The devotee prays to Lord and wants to become aware of His presence. At the same time, he has also got a lot of other desires. But in a sadhaka's case, he has no other desire excepting to feel the presence of God. It may not be possible for any of us, but we can still try, That is why we are reminded about this article, we are reminded about everything. So from sadhaka level to, devotee level to, sadhaka's level. All of us are blessed with love and devotion and a desire to have God vision. Desire alone won't do. Our aspiration to realize the truth must be fiery and our sadhana well disciplined. Instead of being merely devotees, we must turn into real sadhakas. Devotees are those who are devoted to God, but aspire mainly for worldly things. They are not generally keen to have anything higher, whereas sadhakas aspire only for God. The first quality necessary for the sadhaka, when he strives to realize God, is the heroic spirit. He should not have lukewarm enthusiasm and a timid march on the path, because they prolong the struggle now, often ending in uncertainty and disaffection. We also have to ensure not to seek peace and freedom in external circumstances of life, because true freedom is of the mind only. Let the knocks and hits of life turn us more and more towards God, so that we can become impervious to all kinds of outside attacks upon us. Papa's life itself is a testimony, And after the 2-year struggle, how he became impervious, We still remember when for the first time we heard the word impervious when we were in Wayanad. Immediately an engineer, we were all in the field. Immediately the engineer, we were working in the field where there is, this clay soil is there. Immediately he brought the clay soil, made it as a small container with his hand, and then pour water. The water will not come out. It will not percolate into though it is a clay, it will not percolate. He showed us, we should be like this. We may be in the midst of troubles, but the trouble should not enter into us. Trouble is a trouble, let it be there. That is how he made us to understand the real meaning of imperviousness. So that we can become impervious to all kinds of outside attack upon us. Therefore, let us be earnest in employing all the resources of our being to advance towards the supreme goal. May our thoughts, words and deeds have a background of divine consciousness. It is to be remembered that unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. These words of Papa, they are to be imprinted in our heart. Unless we link our life with the divine author of our being. Many a time he made us to go through this satsang session about the source of all sources, where we have been finding joy in quoting that particular shloka from Bhagavad Gita, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Vidyatpartha Sanatanam. Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the eternal seed of everything. Not only human being, not only the plant kingdom, not only the animal kingdom, but even the sentient and insentient items. I am the origin. That is what Papa says in a beautiful way, that unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. We do everything except remembering the divine author. So that we take over the authorship. What do you call that? We feel we are the author of our own. We are the deciding factor. We are the originating factor. We are the sustaining factor. That's what we all feel. But there is a divine author behind us. And through Bhagavad Gita, we are touched and kindled and made known. Through that sloka, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. Sarva Bhutanam, I am the eternal seed. Parents are only the instrumental causes. They are not the first cause, the uncaused cause. So when we see any plant, initially when we look at a fruit plant, because we have seen the seed. When we go to a paddy field, we know very well that the paddy cultivation is possible only when we sow the seed. And the seed becomes a seedling. Then we transplant. And due to our nurturing and nourishing, it yields. And in each single seed, it gives so many tillers. It's called tillers. And each tiller will give you more than 100 grains. It is self-propagating. Not that we have to do anything. The creative power in a single seed is capable of self-propagation. Similarly, in the human being also, when he gave us this, it has got the capacity to self-propagate. The only necessary conditions should be there. Like when we sow the seed on a unprepared land, it might not seed, it might not sprout. Even if it sprouts, it may die soon. Similarly, even through human beings, the seed keeps on performing its duties of self-propagating. That is how from the one it became many. We all know that from one single coconut, seed coconut, the coconut tree has come. But we hardly think about the seed coconut. When we look at the seed coconut, we know it has come from another tree. And that tree has come from a seed coconut, which has come from another tree. So, which is the first seed coconut? Without a tree, our intellect cannot reach there. So we go and understand, Bijam Man Sarva Bhutanam. If we start stretching to all pulses, all vegetables, all fruits, all animals, we will find the first one, Bijam Man Sarva Bhutanam. So all these things, we are reminded because of Papa's this wonderful word. Unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. Steadily we have to produce concentration of thought on God. 4 steps. Until we feel His nearness, until we become aware of His presence, until we have the vision of Him everywhere about us, until we realize our oneness with Him. These are the 4 clues Papa gives. First, how to know the divine author of my being. I read the books of masters or shastras, and I know that He is the Bijam, He is the source. The more I think about it, the nearness is felt. Then when the moment we start feeling the nearness in our heart, mysteriously He will also give us a discipline, a set of steps to be taken. And if He has made us steadfast and sincere and earnest, He will make us to feel His presence within us. Then slowly He will make us to feel His presence in all, and to finally become one with Him. The 4 steps. Papa brings it out beautifully. I will read once again. Steadily we have to practice concentration of thought on God until we feel His nearness, number 1. Until we become aware of His presence, number 2. Until we have the vision of Him everywhere about us, number 3. And until we realize our oneness with Him, number 4. So these are all the steps through which the devotee tries to graduate himself from the devotee stage to sadhaka stage. And how the sadhaka moves from step 1 to step 5, step 4, that is also given to us. If we think about it, do manana intensely. I am a devotee of God. I am a devotee of Papa. Initially, yes, that is very good. It's a great blessing to have the company of great souls, to meet them, to know their teachings, to follow their But if we remain at that level, we may not be able to progress. So from there we should try to move towards the sadhaka state. So along with this sadhana, we also try to look upon whether this sadhana which is prescribed by somebody, whether it is helping me. Then Papa keeps on whispering into our ears. Try to develop a sadhana which is in line with your svabhava, which is in line with your limitation, which is in line with your characteristics, your tendencies. What is suitable for this equipment? So we should try that. We cannot follow what somebody has said. Day for yesterday he made us to go through that, that particular word. That particular implicit obedience to the law set by anyone, however highly evolved he may be, will, instead of bringing into being an illumined individual, only produce a human robot without initiative, all its powers and beauty unexpressed and unrevealed. He again clarifies, the keen aspiration for attaining the highest truth must be there. Contact with a divinely illuminated personality must also be there. But the unfoldment of the hidden divine life and truth in the sadhaka must take place according to the nature and qualities of his inner and outer life and being. So what is suitable for me? He has given me this, He has given me this body, mind, intellect equipment to charter our course. If we try to drive as somebody drives in his vehicle, we will be in trouble. But we have to do it in our own way. The Papa reminds us, bluntly, try to find out what is in line with your svabhava, then choose and follow it. This is a wonderful freedom he has given us. He wants everyone to think about this freedom and choose his or her own path based upon the characteristics of one's soul. We can't follow others beyond certain level. Each one has to draw one soul. That we have seen that, When we join the Ramnam program, we find some joy. But as soon as the session is over, we are back to square one. Every day we read the prayers of all Mahatmas. Does it leave a deep impact in us? Every day we attend, those of us or those who have been associating with ashram, there are so many programs that have been going on in the ashram, and each program is linking us to the sadhana. But do we really feel it? No. That means simply following what has been set up by somebody does not. But if we try to follow in our own way, choose a method by which we try to move. So when you do that, right from Vishnu Sahasranama, right from the solo Ramnam, right from Guru Sthiti, right from flower offering, right from bhajans, right from Hare Rama chanting, right from Om Namo Bhagavate Ramanaya chanting, right from bhajans, right from chorus Ramnam, right from universal prayer, right from Arati, up to the close, we find everything is linked to our sadhana. That has to be taken by ourselves. Nobody else will tell us this. then each and every word or each and every shloka is touching and thrilling. We are telling because we were also following the same thing. Because it was in Marathi, we did not know the meaning. So when somebody came and asked us why it is in Marathi, why can't it be in other language? Suddenly we thought the need to translate the whole thing, and it was taken up, 89 or 90. Anandashramji did lot of things. He requested one of the devotees to sing, and then the translation in English was taken up. And after that, in each and every language, we requested somebody to do it. And then only we came to know the meaning of Jajya Stalihe Manajaya Majaye. And the moment we knew it, then every time we remember that, whether we are attending the program or not, every time we remember that this is what is touched and kindled in us. That is what the purpose for which is. Prabhu Vishwanatha, we did not have any idea that it was the translation of universal prayer. But when somebody told us that, when we did the translation work, suddenly we came to know, we also hear that beautiful tune. We were traveling with that, no doubt, but without any idea. The moment we came to know that it is the direct translation of universal prayer of Papa, then there is an added joy while repeating it or hearing it or remembering it. Ase nirmitatu. Every word, every word was then, it became relevant. So we travel with the theme. We do not travel with the usual hearing. This has to be done by oneself. Even if we hear this, it doesn't mean one has to do it by oneself. So when this is touched and kindled in one person, the benefit is that. Then only we also thought, we were also repeating it now. Religiously every day we used to attend and then we repeat. But the last word is an affirmation. And every day when we repeat a universal prayer, what are we telling? I come in all humility to thy holy feet and surrender myself entirely to thee. We don't do anything like that. In spite of repeating it for years together, we have not surrendered anything. It goes at the superficial level. Why? We were not traveling with the theme. So this is very important for all of us. So this is probably, we can take it that this is one step towards graduating to the status of a sadhaka. Whatever we do, it should make us to feel his nearness. Prabhu Vishwanatha, Ase Nirmitatu, Jagatpalaga, Nashakarta. We used to read in English, O Lord of the universe, O Creator, Protector, Destroyer of the world, I come in all humility to thy holy feet and surrender myself entirely to thee. Deign to bless me ever with thy remembrance, O merciful divine Master, give me strength, purity and peace. It goes on, So does it leave any deep impact? Does Papa Mataji, do they expect us only to read at the lip level? Is it for that purpose they introduced? They all, both of them wanted us to lift ourselves from the devotee stage to the sadhaka stage. So this is the thought he gives us, and then, so we have to graduate from devotees to sadhaka. Doubts may then arise whether this can be done while leading a normal family and professional life, with intense aspiration to realize God, coupled with a high degree of dispassion. The sadhaka will be able to attain this state, whether he is a grihastha, or whether he is a professional being, or whether he is a social being. All that is needed is only that intensity, with intense aspiration to realize God, coupled with a high degree of dispassion, the sadhaka will be able to attain the state. The methodology is to chant his name with the right perspective. The right perspective is something on which we have to keep on digging deep. Tomorrow we will exclusively set apart for that. What all he tries to touch and kindle in us, and what is meant by this right perspective. Just hearing may not help us, but certainly during our waking state, when we chant Ram Nam, either during the specified hours or during our leisure hours, past moments, mental chanting, wherever we do that, we will try to bring at least some dimension behind the chanting. We will try to dwell more and more on that aspect tomorrow. Right perspective, prayer, meditation, besides dedicating all the activities to Him. This is a methodology. Methodology is to chant His name with the right perspective. Prayer, meditation, besides dedicating all the activities to Him. All the activities. So there is no divide. Even this very act of repeating these words of Papa, it is actuated by Him. If we are not aware of this, if we are not trying to become aware of this reading will take place at the superficial level. The hearing will take us to the superficial level only. So that is why when we start reading, if we are conscious that He is guiding us, suddenly we know He is making us to read. Why? We don't have to ask for the reason. He makes us to read, that's all. He makes us to hear, that's all. If we can stretch this to all our activities, dedication has already come. Initially it will be difficult. So in whatever possible manner, to whatever extent it is possible, we will try to bring in this dimension. The methodology is to chant His name with the right perspective, prayer, meditation, besides dedicating all the activities to Him. True liberation, peace and bliss can come to a spiritual aspirant only when he or she combines the inner sadhana of remembrance and meditation with outer dedication of actions to the divine. There should be a harmonious blend of these two. Today what we are doing is, even in ashram, we attend to programs at specified hours for specific. And our activities, if we are not linking those. My doing pranams at the holy feet of Papa, Mataji, Swamiji at the Bhajan Hall, the same attitude I should have when I sign letters, when I handle accounts, when I meet devotees, when I do any physical labor. That means all my activities should bear this stamp of divinity. No? This is the message Papa gives. We may be chanting, we may not be able to chant throughout. We may be involved in work, but it is an extension of chanting. Because chanting is for remembrance, and all your activities are for remembrance. So that we don't compartmentalize or limit remembrance to the chanting session or prayer session or in bhajan hall only or Samadhi Mandir only. We fail, we forget, so we pray to Him. We cry, we appeal. Why are you making me unaware of this? You make me to attend the programs and you facilitate to develop so many things to well up in my heart of devotion. But as soon as I am away from it, I am back to square one. Like any other activities outside, I am also involved in other activities. I am not linking this to you. So that is what is meant here. True liberation, peace and bliss can come to a spiritual aspirant only when he or she combines the inner sadhana of remembrance and meditation with the outer dedication of actions to the divine. Every action performed in an impersonal spirit becomes a worship of God. Every action performed, every action, at home, in the office, with friends, no? Every action performed in an impersonal spirit becomes a worship of God. It is therefore incumbent for a sadhaka to be watchful and vigilant over the antics of the mind. If the mind is given a free rein, sadhana would be impossible. It is also essential that the sadhaka should watch every step he takes on the spiritual path. Such a one must control thoughts, feelings, words and actions. His or her thought should always dwell in the oneness of all objects and things. The feeling should be pure and go out in love and sympathy towards the whole creation, and action should be a spontaneous outflow of the sadhaka's dynamic nature. The obstacles in the way of the sadhaka are self-centeredness, reliance on his puny strength and wisdom, his dependence upon the perishable and impotent objects of life deprives him of divine care and protection. His likes and dislikes, favors and prejudices set up a thick wall on his path. Suspicion, distrust, sensitiveness keep him always on the rack, giving him no rest and peace. He should fling himself into the infinite life. His individual sense must merge in the cosmic spirit. The harrowing pairs of opposites, good and bad, happiness and sorrow, right and wrong, etc., have their way to let the mind keep oscillating. Therefore, it is stressed that the need for a sadhaka is to take his stand on the infinite reality, as that alone would keep him centered in the sadhana. The means to overcome this is, instead of allowing ourselves to be upset by the change in the transient, to fix our mind upon the deathless, formless, eternal truth. This is done only by stilling the mind, quitting of all waves of thought that trouble it. The path is the repetition of God's name and meditation, and the surrender of all our actions to God. We read out the first chapter from the book, Sadhaka and Sadhana. During the next few days, we will try to go through that, because Papa probably has been watching us, and he must have thought that more attention is to be paid on the sadhana aspect. We have been hearing, we have been associating, everything is okay, but have we really taken it up as an intense journey for our spiritual evolution? So that is why probably he prompted us to bring out all these again and again before us. 99% of the words are from hymns books only. And later it was brought out in the form of a small booklet called Sadhaka and Sadhana. It has been translated also in different languages. Malayalam and Tamil we remember. The translation is, when you take up a translation, that itself is a big sadhana. Because we are not worried about the literal translation. We are worried about the thematic side. What is the theme contained? How can we express that theme? So we go through a manana exercise, and then the suitable word God will give us. So even for compiling, because this has been taken out from various books, even from his poem. When he said, you have to stand on the ashes of your own ego, it was from the poem. You have to stand on the ashes of your own cremated ego. We all learn by heart the words, but the ego continues to be within us. Of course, there is one step. So let us go through it and think about it again and again. Just like, what we said about our ashram routine. This time again we are going to Madras. During the 3 days there, a special retreat only about ashram routine. Starting from the first inaugural address he gave. Many of us may not know at all why this ashram was built, why this was founded. God made Papa Mataji to set up this ashram. What for? In his book, In the Vision of God, he has clearly brought out. Only through that we came to know. So that is why we got it printed and brought it out and fixed it at the entrance of the Centenary Hall. That is the first step, So we should be clear about the ideal of this ashram and what all messages he gives on that day. And then try to link ourselves with the routine that has been set up. Anandashram was telling that first there was no program like Vishnu Sahasranam. So when Swami Krishnanand, Anandashram's father, when he came and when he requested, Mataji included it. Because there is first of all, when we chant Vishnu Sahasranam, first we all have learned from our grandfather when we were children. Then we did not know anything about it. But there is a rhythm, there is a meter there, And they will insist that we should chant it in the right way. Every shloka. We cannot simply chant. So unknowingly we were led into that. Shirodhanvat Pradeshe Shuchimani Vilasat Saigader Mautiganam Mala Kluptasanastas Patigamani Niver Mautiger Mandidangaha Shubrer Abrer Adabrer Uvari Virajidai Yukta Piyur Shavarshai Anandina Puniyad Arinadinagada Shankapanir Mugundaha. We did not know the meaning. Even now we don't know the Sanskrit meaning. But he made us to chant it in such a way that there is an inexplicable joy, first taste. And then as we keep on entering into it, then we find, we are glorifying him 1008 times. We are not though we started with a glorification to the personal aspect, it is linking us to the impersonal aspect. Artha Vishanna Chitilascha Bhitaha Khoreshu Cha Vyadishu Vartamana Sankirtya Narayana Shabdamatram Vimukta Dukha Sukhino Bhavan. Like that, then we Artha Vishanna Chitilascha Bhitaha. So these are all, that is how Mataji then probably must have decided to add this as the first program of this ashram. When we come as a ardent devotee, we used to take part in all the programs right from morning. And suddenly we find this Vishnu Sahasranama is chanted here, which was told to us by our grandfather many decades ago. And suddenly we find, after that there was no venue to hear this, excepting on certain occasions. But when we came to the ashram and when we started attending it, when does the program start? Somebody said 5 o'clock. Okay. So 5 o'clock when we start, suddenly we heard this. So right from that, Mataji wanted us to associate ourselves with God thought. The first half an hour program is to, outwardly we are chanting Vishnu Sahasranam. Inwardly we are trying to develop a habit of remembering him, not once or twice, 1008 times. The mind is out of control. So it is likely we may not be able to remember all, but 1 or 2 or 3 we might remember. And the next one was very thrilling, the solo Ramnam. So this time we thought when we go to Chennai, as a part of our sadhana, we will try to dwell more and more on this, right from the ideal of the ashram, spelt out by him, to the various programs that are going on in the ashram. How does it help us to remember him, to remember him, to remember him? So now we understand today why did he make us to remember? Because he said, you should move from the state of devotee to a sadhaka. Devotee will be satisfied by chanting, glorifying him. And he will pray whenever anything is needed. We have accepted his supremacy. That is why we are praying to him for all our mundane problems, mundane ambitions, mundane desires. But there is a higher ideal also. So if we don't become aware of the ideal pointed out by Papa, we may be compromising with the lesser ideals, of what we feel for a comfortable life. So let us all think about all these things. Tomorrow we will also try to concentrate upon the right perspective while chanting. Hayo. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai